Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, police arrested a 40-year-old man in Victoria County. The charges he's facing and his bond next.
A date now set in the impeachment trial of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
And the Democratic candidate for the District 30 House seat speaks on why she's running for the position.
After a brilliant day today, we've got another brilliant day coming up for Friday, looking for high temperatures about 80 degrees. We'll talk about your Easter weekend forecast coming up.
And he's just a freshman, but he's been balling on the diamond, and he's your athlete of the week. That's in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Dom Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Victoria County deputies arrested a 22-year-old suspect Tuesday. Jordan Martinez is charged with engaging in organized criminal activity. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $60,000 bond. A 40-year-old suspect faces 3 charges in Victoria County. James Roach faces aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance, and tampering or fabricating evidence with intent to impair charges. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $110,000 bond. El Campo police arrested a 36-year-old suspect Wednesday. Chad McMillan faces 3 charges, including aggravated assault with a weapon and unlawful carry of a weapon with a felony conviction. He is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $72,500 bond.
A 34-year-old suspect was arrested by El Campo police Wednesday. Shenna Cook is charged with aggravated assault with a weapon. She is in the Warren County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond. Stephanie Basham is the Democratic nominee for the Texas House District 30 seat. Basham describes herself as a long-life Democrat born in southern West Virginia. Her father was a coal miner and her mother worked at a hospital. She says she grew up in a strong union household with a work ethic of work hard, do better, and pass that on to the next generation.
I'm just a regular person. I never had political aspirations, but I think it's time that Democrats especially stand up and say that we have a voice in our community. We're here, we're good people, and our ideas are as important as the Republican side of the ticket.
Basham says her 3 main areas of focus, if elected, would be restoring women's reproductive rights, keeping money in public schools, and higher wages for all Texas residents. Now, in this general election in November, Basham faces either A.J. Louderback, former sheriff of Jackson County, or Jeff Bouknight, a former mayor of Victoria. Louderback and Bouknight face off in a runoff election set for May 28th. To learn more about Stephanie Basham, the Democratic nominee for Texas House District 30, and the 2 Republican candidates, come to CrossroadsToday.com.
Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. If I had a vote, I'd vote for this kind of weather day for many days. Yes.
Yeah, nice evening we had.
I second the emotion, or the motion. We are looking, the only problem in the next couple of days is going to be that the wind is going to be rather strong. As you can see here, for Friday, the afternoon winds are going to be blowing probably up to 30 miles an hour. So we're going to be a little on the breezy side, but other than that, temperatures are going to be awesome for the weekend. And we'll have more details on your forecast coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Indiana National Guard troops, 50 of them, will head to the Lone Star State early next month. They will assist the National Guard here at the U.S. southern border. And today, a departure ceremony was held for the troops.
And I just can't say it enough how appreciative we are, how much we value what you're doing.
Words of thanks from Governor Eric Holcomb to the men and women of the Indiana National Guard headed to Texas, where they'll assist that state's National Guard with patrolling the southern border in El Paso.
We have a pretty straightforward mission. We're just extra sensors on the ground.
Members of Indiana's National Guard, like Sergeant Christopher Estrada, won't have the power to arrest anyone crossing the border illegally. Instead, their role is to watch and report what they see to the Texas National Guard and Department of Public Safety, who will take it from there. Part of that could involve spotting illegal drugs like fentanyl someone trying to cross the border illegally may have on them.
The mission for us is curb the fentanyl epidemic.
According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website, 310 pounds of fentanyl have been seized at the southwest Texas border since October 1st of last year through this past February, with more than 100 pounds seized just last month. Governor Holcomb said some of those drugs are finding their way into towns across the United States, including those in Indiana.
There is a correlation between the fentanyl that is making its way across the southern border and the overdose deaths that are occurring in Indiana.
These soldiers say part of their mission will be to try and prevent that.
And if we can slow it down, the more we slow it down, the better.
The troops should arrive in El Paso early next month. Right now, they would be due to return to Indiana before Christmas, but that date could change.
A school in New Mexico went on lockdown Wednesday because 6 migrants had entered that building. This is the second time that has happened within a week. The issue, migrants are ending up in the school unintentionally as they try to avoid Border Patrol agents. Having unauthorized people in a school poses a security risk.
Santa Teresa Middle School is one of many areas that these migrants jump into without, thinking of where they're going through because they're trying to evade arrest.
The Border Patrol already has a higher number of agents in the area during school hours, and the school has its own resource officer. Parents are asking for more to be done to keep this from happening again.
The impeachment trial of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas will head to the Senate on April 11th. A statement from Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's office says on that date, senators will be sworn in as jurors. The House impeached Mayorkas last month by a slight margin, making him the first cabinet secretary to be impeached in nearly a century and a half. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Mayorkas' handling of the U.S. southern border led him to commit high crimes and misdemeanors.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton opened an investigation into a parts supplier for Boeing. This comes after several issues with certain airplane parts provided to Boeing. Spirit Aerosystems produces the fuselages for Boeing's 737 jets. Apparent manufacturing defects have led to several dangerous incidents, some of which occurred in air. Spirit Aerosystems is instructed to produce documents connected to manufacturing defects in their products.
At least 4 people are dead and 7 others injured after authorities say a man went on a stabbing spree in Illinois, just 90 miles west of Chicago.
A suspect has been arrested and he's facing numerous charges, including first-degree murder.
A brutal attack unfolding Wednesday in the middle of the afternoon in and around Rockford, Illinois.
Our community is hurting because of the senseless act of violence that took place.
Rockford police say the initial calls came in around 1:15 p.m. The suspect first confronting a woman in her home.
There was a good Samaritan that was helping one of the ladies that was a home invasion. She ran from the home. The Good Samaritan stopped that situation, and she could have easily been deceased if he did not become involved with that.
Authorities have identified the suspect as 22-year-old Christian Soto.
We have no other indications or any other reports that anyone else was involved in the events yesterday besides Soto.
Police say the suspect attacked multiple people throughout the neighborhood before being apprehended by a sheriff's deputy.
I've been asked to release the names of those that are deceased. 63-year-old Ramona Schubach, 23-year-old Jacob Schubach, 49-year-old Jay Larson, 15-year-old Jenna Newcomb.
According to court records, Soto is facing 11 counts of murder and attempted murder, along with 2 counts of home invasion with a dangerous weapon. So far, police say a motive for the attacks is unknown. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
In Houston, more than 1,300 people became U.S. citizens on Wednesday. The immigrants from 115 different countries were sworn in during a naturalization ceremony. It comes as the state is grappling with a bill called Senate Bill 4, a law allowing state and local authorities to arrest anyone they suspect crossed the border illegally. Some of the country's newest citizens support it, while others say it unfairly targets Latinos. For now, enforcement of Senate Bill 4 is on pause as it makes its way through the court system.
The United Nations Court has ordered Israel to open more land crossings to allow aid and fuel into Gaza. The International Court of Justice issued 2 new provisional measures in a case brought by South Africa, accusing Israel of acts of genocide in its military campaign launched after the October 7th attacks by Hamas. Israel has denied it is committing genocide and says its military campaign is self-defense. Thursday's order came after South Africa sought more provisional measures, including a ceasefire. Israel urged the court not to issue new orders.
Republican lawmakers may try to force Texas cities to allow greater housing density as the state faces a housing crunch. Read the story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then when you're on YouTube, you can get Crossroads Today. Lawyers for former President Donald Trump want to have his 2020 election RICO case be dismissed. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, one lawyer's arguments for the dismissal.
Also ahead, a North Texas county issued a disaster declaration ahead of next month's solar eclipse. Attorneys for former President Donald Trump want to have his Georgia 2020 election RICO case dismissed. One of his lawyers argued the case should be dismissed on the First Amendment ground and that the indictment is insufficient in that it only contains things Trump said, not other alleged criminal acts. The court also heard arguments from an attorney representing Trump's co-defendant, the former chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. A Fulton County grand jury indicted Trump and 18 others in August of 2023. Now, former President Donald Trump attended a visitation for an NYPD officer killed during a traffic stop earlier this week. The former president shook hands with mourners as he headed inside the funeral home for the viewing. 31-year-old Jonathan Diller was shot and killed after pulling a driver over for a parking at a bus stop. Diller leaves behind a wife and their 1-year-old son. Speaking to the press after his visit, Trump called for an end to violence against police officers.
The only thing we can say is maybe something is going to be learned. We've got to toughen it up. We've got to strengthen it up. This should never be allowed. Things like this shouldn't take place, and to take place so often.
The suspect in Diller's death is facing a number of charges, including murder of a police officer. He's in the hospital after suffering a gunshot wound to the back during the stop. The cost of living in the U.S. has spiked in recent years. A new study from smartasset.com has determined the amount needed to live comfortably in 99 U.S. cities. The average salary needed to live comfortably in a major city is $96,500 for single adults and roughly $235,000 for a family of four. The highest for an individual is New York, forget about it, where you need a roughly $138,000 salary to live comfortably. The lowest is Houston, where a single adult must earn about $75,000 a year to live comfortably. Here's your viewer poll. Scan the QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Has the rising cost of living made it harder for you to live comfortably? 77% of our voters say yes, 20% say no, and 3% about the same.
Thank you for voting tonight. Now, if you plan to watch the solar eclipse next month, make sure you protect your eyes with the proper glasses.
On April 8th, many parts of North America will be able to see the last solar eclipse until 2044. The full eclipse will be visible through Mexico to the Midwest and Northwest, mainly visible in the northeastern part of the U.S., with a partial eclipse visible for miles from the sun's path. Thousands of people will be watching the sun disappear behind the moon's shadow, but staring too long at the sun carries risk to your eyes. According to the American Society of Retina Specialists, similar to being burned by a laser, the sun can damage the sensitive receptors at the back of the eye, causing long-lasting damage and even blindness. Damage to the retina can be seen anywhere from minutes to hours after exposure, so make sure you pay attention to any changes in your vision. According to NASA, the only safe time to look directly at the sun is during the brief total phase of the eclipse and only with special protective ISO-approved eclipse glasses. Phones, filters, sunglasses, or old eclipse glasses may not provide adequate protection, so make sure you get new ones. If you experience any eye strain, pain, or changes to your vision during or after viewing the eclipse, see your doctor immediately. With this Medical Minute, I'm Perry Russum.
A North Texas county is preparing for the solar eclipse. Kaufman County issued a disaster declaration starting April 5th. That's 3 days before the solar eclipse. Kaufman County is expecting over 200,000 visitors, which would double that county's population. The cities of Kaufman and Terrell are on the center line of the eclipse. Kaufman County has also asked Governor Greg Abbott for a state disaster declaration that would allow the state to send more help if it is needed.
It's just a solar eclipse.
Tourism, though, tourism.
It's getting just out of control here.
I know.
Anyway, folks, 61 is our current temperature. We managed to get up to 77 today, and tomorrow we'll probably get up to about 79, almost 80 degrees. Things are looking very good for the holiday weekend. We'll have all your details on Easter Sunday coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, an absolutely gorgeous day today. Tomorrow is looking really good just as well. In fact, the only fly in the ointment, as they say, is going to be the winds that are going to be a little bit stronger. But as you can see, if you're driving around the state, you have got no problems for Friday. No rain, no precipitation. There's just a little bit of high-level cloud cover right about there. But all things considered, it's going to be gorgeous as we get on through the weekend. 79 forecast high for Friday. And then by Saturday, we'll start seeing 80 degrees and be in the low 80s for Easter Sunday. Pretty much the entire state. The only problem, well, not problem, just a warning, in case you happen to be going somewhere along the Rio Grande. Del Rio to Laredo will be probably in the mid-90s. Could even see something close to 100, so it'll be hot out there. But as far as we're concerned, we're going to be in good shape because we've got a nice little sea breeze blowing. Get low to your temperatures Friday, tomorrow, and then Sunday, 82, then 85, 85 early next week, and then things change. In fact, in about 7 days, cooler air is actually going to roll back into the area. As I mentioned, in the afternoon hours, we're going to be looking at some rather gusty winds, and you can see right about here that in the afternoon, we're going to be pushing them probably 25 to 30 miles an hour, so it'll be a little breezy. All I'm saying is, you know, the tablecloth on the patio table, make sure you tape it or something, because otherwise, all the food will float away. We are looking at the high pressure that brought us the great weather today. It's rolling eastward. As it does, that returns our wind out of the southeast, so the sea breeze will reestablish. That's why we're going to pick up a little humidity, a little moisture, but nothing huge. You might even see a little cloud cover in the morning, but the afternoons will be sunny. And then the second ridge that comes in, that's what gets us up to about the 85-degree readings right about there early next week. But on the West Coast, they have a late season Easter storm. Yes, it's an Easter storm, and it's really late in the season for them to be getting this big a storm. This is going to be producing snow in the Rockies, all over the Southwest, with rain down in the lower valleys. And of course, that front will actually make it to our area like about Tuesday next week. So for those of you in Port Lavaca, looking good, up to about 77 degrees with a brisk southeast wind coming back. And then in Cuero, looking for abundant sunshine all day long, getting up to about 78 as well. So we'll take it through the next 7 days. We've got beautiful weather for Good Friday. Then on Saturday, still looking good, up to 80 degrees. Easter Sunday, a little breezy in the afternoon hours, but 82, not bad at all. Then we go through that couple of really hot days, but then it's Tuesday night when the next front comes through, and then all of a sudden our temperatures knock back down to the low 70s, which is about the time, the temperatures we're supposed to be having for this time of year. So have a great time if you're traveling or leaving town. Otherwise, have a nice holiday and remember the reason for the season. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And let's go to Zach with baseball.
Yeah, so a young star from Victoria West is your athlete of the week. We've also got Victoria West in Hallettsville softball and a final score for the Calhoun Sand Crabs. All that's coming up in sports. Our athlete of the week is just a freshman and has been dominant for Victoria West, slamming the door on the mound. The Victoria West Warriors have been a much better team this year, already surpassing their district wins from last year with 3 so far this year. And Aiden De Leon has been the winning pitcher in 2 of them. He is just a freshman, meaning last year he was at Cade Middle School, and he's loved having the opportunity to show people what he can do so early in his high school days.
Feels good playing travel ball growing up and being able to come to high school in Victoria and prove to the people what I can do. I've had a lot of people doubt me, and then just kind of, I guess, continue working, and I use it as like a boost to continue, like, just keep pushing myself to what I can be the best every day.
Hayden does an incredible job. He's been a good attribute to the team. He's a great team player, gets along well with his teammates, and they all support him in his role, and him on the mound has really helped us out quite a bit.
When Aiden isn't punching out batters, he's getting great defense played behind him, which is something he says gives him even more confidence out on the mound, but also something that head coach Jay Perez mentioned, and he loves how much the guys root for each other each time out.
Anytime you can get around young men like this and see them support each other and just really be each other's cheerleaders, it's pretty exciting.
The Warriors came into this season determined to make it better than last year, and they just try to take it one game at a time. Aiden knows that despite the great work he and his team have done, there's still more work to be done.
Well, obviously it all starts out at practice. Like right now, you just got to continue to be dialed in, lock in, and then it'll show off in the game.
Against Ray, Aiden had a huge pitching performance and scored the winning run on the walk-off single, and he also pitched very well against Gregory Portland. He was a dominant force, and they needed every bit of his arm in each of those very close games. As just a freshman, he looks poised to be a dominant force for the Warriors for the next few seasons. Congrats to the Victoria West star, Aiden De Leon, on being our athlete of the week. Now, while the boys hit the road to Corpus today, the girls got down over at the Youth Sports Complex, and they were trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the first, but they got that run right back as Grace Weiler is going to score on the RBI double from Jordan Janik, and she's got a pretty sweet celebration over at second base. They had a pretty easy top half of the second inning, getting the Ray Texans in quick order, looking to add some runs in the bottom half and break this tie. Now with 2 outs, just a lazy fly ball to right. Looks like it's over, but it's dropped. So they're going to have 2 runners in scoring position, and a blooper in no man's land is going to drop. 2 runners going to come in to score. It's 3-1 Victoria West. They just do hang on to get the win. Final score 9-8. Over in Hallettsville, the ladies leading Columbus 12-3 with a runner on first, and Ella Amsden smacks one to center over a diving center fielder. Off to the races goes Layton Kalachny. She's going to score. Stand-up triple for Amsden, and that is the nail in the coffin for the Cardinals. Hallettsville run rules the Redbirds, still undefeated in district and are 26-2 on the year. Next up, they go to Palacios. The Calhoun Sand Crabs are your area champions. Just final from LaGrange. They win in extra time. Final score 3-2, round number 3 as Calhoun keeps marching on. And so the Rangers just walked off. The Astros lost today. Not a good day if you're a Houston sports fan, Don and Karina, both from Houston.
We've got tomorrow night. You know, the Cougars are playing tomorrow night.
That's something to look forward to there.
And if they could beat Duke, that will make all Houston fans really happy.
Yeah, and there's also only 161 games left in the baseball season, so I don't know what we're going to do, Don.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. All right. Thank you, Zach, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a popular snack company has a delicious treat in time for the solar eclipse next month, but there's a catch.
literally anybody else, and I'm running for President of the United States of America.
Meet literally anybody else. His friends call him Lit. A former Richland Hills father and veteran, formerly known as Dustin Eby, who legally changed his name and launched a bid for president. Else filed a petition for a name change in January, then went before a Tarrant County judge. Else needs 113,000 voter signatures by mid-May to give voters 3 options in November: Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and literally anybody else.
Well, SunChips is celebrating the upcoming solar eclipse with a new product. It's the Solar Eclipse Limited Edition Pineapple, Habanero, and Black Bean Spicy Gouda. That is a mouthful of flavors. Well, the company officials say these chips will bring flavor buds, quote, the bright heat of the sun with the spicy cheese of the moon. However, these special bags will only be available during the 4 minutes and 27 seconds of the eclipse, which is scheduled for April 8th. So it's like an online order thing?
And that's the catch.
That's the catch.
Oh boy, oh boy. I
Well,
don't
wait a
know. I
minute.
don't know.
If you're watching the eclipse, how can you order the chips?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's not a good move.
They didn't plan.
Really not a good move.
They didn't plan on getting anybody any chips.
And they won't.
At the rate they figured.
No.
Well, folks, we've got a great looking couple of days coming up just in time for the long holiday. Tomorrow, Good Friday, looking for 79 degrees and then up to about 82 on Easter Sunday. It'll be warm for the early part of the week, but then it gets cool by next week at this time. Back to you.
Finally tonight, thank you, Mac. And the Tongass National Forest is picked as the source of the 2024 U.S. Capitol Christmas tree. It's too soon to know which exact tree will be selected for the honor, but whichever one it ends up being, we'll go on a little tour of towns on the way to Washington, D.C. Each year, the national Christmas tree is picked from a national forest. This will be the second time a national park in Alaska has been chosen. The tree was picked from Chukash National Forest in 2015. Already thinking about Christmas? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's not even Easter.
Okay, one day at a time.
Yeah, all righty. Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astroim, meteorologist Parker Cox, 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.